Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of Diplomatic Language. I'm your host, Mr. Bougie, Mr. Midnight, Jarell, Mr. Whole Foods, Corley. This is my co-host here, Mr. Free Your Hands, 7 in the morning, the Vibe Cultivator, Ryan Robertson.
There we go. There we go.
All right, so today, guys, we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to really discuss any topics. We're trying to get more personable with our fans and with our viewers. So today, we just want to give you guys a little bit of background of who we are, how we met, and how we got to this point in time now where we're doing a YouTube channel. So stay tuned for some interesting tales and histories of how the two of us met and how we got to this point in time where we're bringing you some really good content. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. I am an only child. I come from a two-parent household. I grew up loving sports, basketball. I was into football a little as I got older. I remember the exact moment, though, that I fell in love with music. I was inside of Bose headphone store. And I try them on, and Michael Bublé is playing. Michael Bublé, I don't know if you know who Michael Bublé is or not. It's a white man who sings like jazz and classical music. And I asked the guy, I said, "Yo, who is this? Like who is this you guys got playing?" He said, "Michael Bublé." I said, "Oh shit, Michael Bublé. All right." So I write down on a sticky note. I go back to the crib. I hop on YouTube. I type in Michael Bublé, and I just go through a wormhole of just Michael Bublé, and I start going through the comments, and they say, Michael Bublé is like a young Frank Sinatra. So I said, "Who's Frank Sinatra?" Hop on there, look through Frank Sinatra. That's who I discovered. Dean Martin, Ella Fitzgerald, Sammy Davis Jr., like the whole Rat Pack. And then the wormhole just kept going. And then that's how I got, put on to like that old jazz music, the old classical music. And then I got put on to like swing, like that swing music, like, yeah, and by no day.
What, the 1920s?
That swing. What you say?
What, the 1920s?
Yeah, 1920s. Like that swing music.
Okay, yeah, I fuck with swing. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that swing music. Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna tell you the exact moment that I fell in love with R&B. So I am maybe sixth grade, maybe even fifth. In the morning time, MTV Jams, channel like 257 on Cox. It will play Neo's When You're Mad every morning at a certain time, right before I went to school. And that was the first R&B song that I loved. The first R&B song that I probably learned by heart. And the first time I realized, oh, I love R&B. Like, it gives me a feeling like when you're mad, like, baby, don't think I don't take you sit. That's a bop. So that was the very moment I fell in love with R&B. And then later down the line, when I discovered Michael Bublé is when I fell in love with just music in general. And I got my eyes just opened up to a whole different world of music. Before, it was just R&B, hip hop, gospel. And then it opened me up to rock, jazz, classical, alternative, all that other type of genres. Yeah. So where are you from?
Okay. Me, I am from Chicago South Side. I grew up in a neighborhood called Hyde Park. I didn't really discover my taste in music or my love for music until I was in college. I grew up in a sort of, I don't want to say sheltered household, but for the most part, my father, he was very particular on the type of music I listened to. So I was convinced that, well, hey, if I'm not allowed to listen to rap, the way, the parental advisory and all this and the third, then I don't listen to anything. So that's kind
of. What did he have you listen to?
He didn't really have to listen to anything. Obviously I went out to the store and bought some CDs from time to time, you know what I'm saying? And when he found them was a whole issue, you know what I mean? But I mean, it wasn't what he had to listen to. I just chose not to listen to music like that. I just didn't do it because I was like, okay, well, this is what the kids are listening to. If I can't listen to that, then what's the point? So I was kind of like out on the music tip. When I got to college, I discovered a whole lot of different music, as I started getting older. And that was interesting. I had a white roommate, so he put me on a lot of stuff. I found a lot of stuff on my own, things of that nature. But what else would I say? Yeah, I'm just that man. I didn't really play sports a lot growing up. I was more someone that I really enjoyed history. I like to draw. History is my favorite subject. I used to draw a lot when I was younger. I would go out and play sports with the neighborhood kids from time to time, whenever we did it. But I really wasn't like competitive about it. I really didn't care. I was out there having fun. It is what it is. That was that. I went to Syracuse University, studied history and economics. When I came out, I sort of, moved around a lot, didn't really have a clear direction in life as to what I was going to do. I came out in the 2008 financial crisis. So I came out without a job. My first job out of college, I was working at UPS. I was unloading boxes out of a truck, out the back of the trucks. I did that for about 6 months. Then I became a supervisor. I absolutely hated that. And then, I was trying to get into law school. So I got accepted into the summer program. And had I got accepted into that, I would have got a full-time seat, the following fall. But I ended up not getting into that program because I didn't do well enough. I think out of like 100 and something people, there were only 4 seats, that were allowed to continue through. I moved to New Jersey, studied for the LSAT, increased my LSAT score by like 10 or 12 points. Ended up getting into, I was about to get into Rutgers, like Rutgers Law. That's actually a pretty prestigious law school in New Jersey. But I ended up not doing that because I just didn't feel like I was ready, at that moment in time. Things kind of went off for me. And then so I went back to Chicago about 2 years, worked, little odd jobs or whatever. Then I ended up applying to law school again, and I got accepted to FAMU. So I moved down to Orlando, and I did that for a little bit. And one day, I was doing a homework assignment, and I decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, yo, I want to go party. So I just stopped the homework assignment. And I went to go party. I withdrew from law school. And the main reason I withdrew was because I didn't want to graduate and not know my next steps. I didn't want to graduate with another degree and then go back and have to work just a basic job. So I decided that I was going to withdraw and go get involved with some political campaigns. So I worked on Barack Obama's re-election campaign in Florida. I eventually got involved with the marijuana legalization campaign. And then during that time, I also found this organization called Independent Voters out of New York City. And I got involved with them. And I started to find myself. I started to, I also worked, I became a substitute teacher. I absolutely enjoyed that. That was like probably one of my favorite jobs, actually, as a substitute teacher down in Florida, in Orlando. And I also worked for an after-school kids program. And I also started to work on getting my certification to become a full-time teacher. And I was just doing this, and then my grandfather passed away, and I had been thinking, like, do I want to go to Chicago or do I want to stay here in Florida? I really didn't want to go back home, but then my grandfather passed away, just as my lease was up. It was time for me to renew my lease. I was like, you know what? That's my sign right there. It's time for me to go back to Chicago. So I went back. Thank you for watching the Vibe Cultivator Network. For more clips, interviews, and original content, subscribe to the Vibe Cultivator Network on YouTube.
And for exclusive content, become a patron of the Vibe Cultivator Network, available on Patreon only.